The subject of today's chat is what are the steps in buying a law firm? So in the past, we've had lots of chats about this, trying to help prospective buyers in the process of buying a law firm. You've said to me that buying or investigating a legal practice can be smooth and efficient and professional, or it can be messy, haphazard, and filled with misunderstandings. So how does this process go off track, or what keeps it on track, do you think?
What keeps it on track, on the efficient track, is what we've learned by doing this, going through this process many times, is staying on the path of efficiency and avoiding the path of spending unnecessary amounts of time and money on investigating a law firm when you might not even actually buy that law firm. So the first step, in my opinion, is to familiarize yourself with the market. Familiarize yourself with what sort of firms are available, how much you're likely to need to invest, to share information about yourself with us so that we can find the right acquisition for you. So step one, familiarize yourself with the market.
So in terms of the market, are you willing to just give our listeners, our viewers, a bit of a range of price points? What could they expect to pay for practices?
Absolutely. It can be a bit hard to find publicly available information. So, when someone asks a direct question, we answer it. It's in our interest to inform prospective buyers what the range of prices are for these law firms.
Right, great. And we deal with small, medium, larger firms. So we have many different sized firms and type of firms listed, right? So that was step one. What's step two in the process, do you think?
So step two is deciding on the type of law that you're interested in, both now and in the future, and also the geography, the location of the practice. For example, CBD, suburban, regional, and whereabouts. And it's important from the outset to buy a firm that has its core area of work in an area of law that you are familiar with. It always worries me when someone wants to buy a firm that they will rely entirely on the staff to do the work. But then if there's a problem with staff, then if you don't have the expertise in that area of law, then you're going to run into difficulties.
We do have prospects who look at expanding a part of their practice by buying another practice, which deals mostly in that part they're looking to expand, yes?
That's right. And so you can always add your own specialty or other areas of law onto the base of what the firm is currently doing. I strongly recommend, whatever that base is in the firm, that you do have expertise in that area of law.
And geography is important too, you'd say?
Absolutely.
And how you're going to handle the new practice, whether you actually move the location into your existing practice or keep the existing location and man that practice and expand that in its existing location. So those are the decisions for prospects to make. And they're decisions that we find that prospects should spend more time over, these big picture items, rather than looking too much into the detail. Tell me about your third point, study the key facts, because it feels like we could get into a lot of detail here, but let's just clarify what we think is important.
We're talking about the process of buying a practice and to keep it as efficient and smooth as possible. And to do that, when you're buying a practice, we will present you with the key facts fairly early on in this process. And so therefore, study the key facts, because if the key facts don't stack up to what you're looking for, then there's no point going beyond that.
But you could spend a lot of time delving deeper if you ignore your first impression.
Exactly. Really. The first impression, keep it at a high level and examine the key facts. Now, when it comes to the key facts, step 4 is asking questions about those key facts. So the step that we want to avoid is diving straight into the details of like financial profit and loss statements and balance sheets and other things, who this provider is and is there a lease on the photocopier and when does that expire. There's a lot of details that you can go into, but what we recommend to keep this process efficient is to ask questions about the key facts and to have the confidence that this is a practice that you want to investigate in detail. So that's the process that you are at step 4, to decide whether you want to investigate the detail of the practice.
So I'm going to say the key facts are revenue, profit,
The type of law,
what else? The location, and how
staffing.
many staff are working in the practice.
That's right. If you can make those factors work for you, if you can manage those factors, then here is a practice is viable for you, provided there's nothing that you will find in the details that is of concern to you. But you won't find answers in the details address the key facts of the practice. You've got to stay at the key facts, the big picture first, before you dive into the detail. If you dive into the detail, you'll be swimming around in the detail, but you might never satisfy yourself about the big picture.
Yeah, got it. All right. Well, I think that should bring our part 1 of this discussion to a close. There is a second part to this discussion, which starts off with meeting and talking to the vendor principal. So we'll take it up in our next video. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Stan.